to give her, yes?
All right.
Also, who has a 5-button suit? I don't think I've ever seen a 5-button suit.
But wait for me, okay? I've got loads more to show you. They put up my drawing on the bulletin the other day. I'm gonna take you there later. I'll be back.
She soon disappears behind the small crowd, none the wiser to the sudden changing mood around her. Luke straightens as soon as she's gone. The expression on his face grows less kind now that there's no one to reassure. Despite that, a chuckle still escapes me. His head quickly snaps at me, an accusing glare clear in his eyes. Although it's less threatening now considering what I've just witnessed earlier. Funny how one person's impression of someone can so easily change with that minute detail.
Why are you laughing like that?
Don't mind me. I just saw something surprising today.
See what I mean though? She never truly hated Luke. If something like that can completely change her opinion on him.
Don't let it bother you.
You know, putting it like that won't make me any less inclined to ask. What is it, woman? If this is another one of your threats, I've already told you it isn't going to work on me. That good teacher act isn't going to fool anyone.
What makes you think it has to do with you? I could have just remembered something funny. Not everything in this world revolves around you, mister.
That's fired.
I am not daft, Daisy. It's on your face for all the world to see. Now, say it so we can be done with this stupid talk.
I let out another laugh. More to delay than to express any sort of amusement over the matter. In truth, I don't know where to start. One wrong move, one wrong word, and I might offend the man. He's childish enough for that, even if what I'm about to say here are just mere honest observations. You're good at handling her. Oh well, regardless of how he reacts, it's not like it'll have an impact on anything between us. His relationship's gone back up. I have no plans of getting too friendly with the man, though he might have some good points, emphasis on the might. The best treatment I can hope to give him is to stop thinking of him as a sleazy douche. Besides, after seeing that look on him, I figure someone like him could use a little compliment here and there. He probably doesn't get it much considering how coarse his own language can get.
Can't you act a wee bit polite for even a second of your life? It won't kill you. You'll easily get answers that way, you know? Instead of demanding things from people like a temperamental man-child.
I'll be nice when I want to be, woman. Don't tell me what to do.
And here I was just thinking how you're doing a brilliant job as Kylie's guardian. Was I mistaken?
Was I mistaken? What? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Stop playing dumb. I hate to admit it, but you actually seem to be good with kids. Possibly even better than most of the teachers here. What do you know?
I expected him to take it all in, bloat his ego more, or even brag about it. Instead, what I got from him is a sound resembling a squawk. Maybe that's just him choking on his own pride. I can't tell above the hubbub surrounding us. But when I glance at him, only a mortified expression is on his face.
No? You should be proud of yourself. At least there's this one good thing about you. Isn't that nice to hear? Pretty sure not a lot of compliments get thrown around about you, knowing how you are.
There are a lot of good things about me, Daisy. My hair, for one. There's also my extraordinary good looks. Wax lyrical about those all you want. I'd be happy to hear it any day. Praise anything about me but that.
What is so repulsive about it? Even Kylie likes you.
It's very questionable.
Shouldn't that tell you anything about yourself?
Kylie is one kid, not even my own. Trust me, you do not want to see me bring a spawn of my own into this world. This will be an abomination.
So we know I'm gonna have to ramble here, because this has kind of sparked a little bit in my brain. So we know that Hannah's pregnant, or she seems to be pregnant. because of the way she was interacting with Zach, and she was looking at the cot because she's been feeling morning sickness, yada yada. And Luke is completely against the idea of him having a child. Of them having a child, even. And this, trust me, you do not want to see me bring a spawn of my own into this world. It's almost as if he knows how much of a handful he is. Possibly from past experiences, maybe something happened with his parents that have kind of shaped him this way. I know I'm of the same mind, to quickly get it out there. I don't want to have kids. Because I know what a handful I was. I just don't want to. Like, anyone else's kid, I'm more than fine of doting upon, caring for, anything. I could never see me raising my own child. A load of people think that's quite a sad outlook on life. To me, it's just a normal thing. To me, it doesn't seem like something that's strange, and it's almost the same for Luke. He almost sees it that it's strange that so many people are wanting him to have a kid, albeit I'm not from a rich, powerful family who needs to carry on their family name. Luke is. Could that be the reason why he doesn't want to? Because there's so much pressure on him having to do so? Or is it just the same kind of platitude that I have, which is, I honestly just don't care for it? And a load of people have said that makes me seem cold or harsh or unloving or anything. Say what you want. It's a weird thought of, I don't think I'd enjoy being a dad. And like, as much as, like, Luke's character is set up to be the arsehole, yada yada, I kind of see his point. Anyway, enough ramblings from me.
Is that what you keep telling yourself?
Maybe. Is it any of your business?
It's just definitely given me another kind of outlook on this character. Because let's face it, most of the time it's just been a fucking arsehole. But...
No. But if I didn't know any better, I'd say this is because you yourself think you're a little piece of shite and somehow it'll pass on.
Becca just reflected exactly what I was saying.
It doesn't work like that, by the way.
The last remark just came out. There might have been a sliver of truth in it, but I shouldn't have phrased it like that. Even for my own standards, or the kind of person I'm talking to, it's still quite rude. An apology is already at my throat, but the minute I open my mouth, all of what I prepared myself to say dissipates. Lost in the moment in front of me. He has turned his gaze outside, staring at some point past the buildings, blocking the view of the sky, equally lost in his thoughts. He's a vexing man under it, so many standards. However, in this moment, the morning light streaming through the window lends his features a certain air. Softer, less severe than what he often flaunts. I might as well be looking at a different man. There's a tender note in his voice when he finds it, the words muttered under his breath, not intended for anyone but for himself. Nevertheless, it reaches my ears, unintentional as it may be.
You're right. She deserves someone far better than me.
All that talk about self-worth makes some sense now. It isn't some profound knowledge he pulled out of his arse. It has come about because he's already been there, likely still stuck in the middle of it. Preaching about your own personal experience is easier after all. Less room for mistakes, more for a dose of self-loathing. What a complicated man. Just when you thought you'd already figured him out, he does one thing and then says another. People like him are the most difficult to gauge, far harder to understand. Yeah, it might be exactly for this reason why some are so easily charmed by him. The mystery that catches them. of wanting to find out what's underneath that bravado. I won't count myself among those yet. His winning personality isn't exactly my cup of tea. But sometimes, once you get a glimpse of what's beyond the macho machismo, empathizing with the man is still such a steep hill to climb. The comfortable silence we are now sharing tells anything, that is. Perhaps this is as close to as a friendship we can get. Several insults flung around with a few shared silences in between, and not exactly a bad thing. He's not exactly a bad guy either, despite the awkward start we've had. Maybe for this reason that I can't resist throwing a little comment to lift his mood before leaving him.
You know, Luke, you're not such a bad person.
Is that supposed to make me feel better? I'm touched, Daisy.
Take it how you will, but a little attitude change would help. A lot.
Ah, bollocks. Right, of course. Let me know when you're done with your lecture, ma'am.
And you can probably start by not leaving your wife out while you're having some quality time with your goddaughter. Who knows? Maybe that'll help change how the child sees her.
Where did you even get the idea I'm leaving my wife out? Have you ever even met?
As a matter of fact, they have, but they don't know it yet.
No, but I did see her with you two last time.
His indifferent expression quickly dissolves into a confused scowl while I meet it with matching perplexity. It's only been 2 days. Surely his memory is not that bad.
When was this?
At the cafe, after you left. She was sitting right beside you. Kylie was at the back and you were driving.
Daisy, are you sure you haven't accidentally hit yourself with your own book? Because that damn thing's quite thick, and I'm really getting worried about you. It has only been a few days, and concussions can be dangerous. I suggest you have that checked.
Well, you asked. I just answered. It's pretty rude to make her wait like that, by the way.
Wasn't his wife.
How can I make her wait when she's not even with us?
What?
It was just Kylie and I that night.
Now you're just pulling my leg.
Luke exhales, long and drawn out, his impatience rapidly changing the companionable air around us. In the face of it, I tense. I accidentally stepped into another minefield. Any chat I've had with him so far has been like this. Why this still surprises me escapes me, but above my worries of offending the man, it's my own bewilderment. I remember well enough what I saw that night, yet he says nothing completely indifferent.
Wifey was out with Kylie's mummy that night. She wasn't with us. How do you think I ended up on babysitting duty?
But in the front seat. And Kylie's...
Miss Pink!
What's happened? Kylie's sobs reach my ears first, and then with a familiar weight returns around my waist. Hot tears seep through my blouse as she buries her face in it, her arms winding tightly around me. Luke and I briefly exchange worried glances, his own lips shut tight with concern. Her cries are soft enough not to attract much attention. Most of the visitors have been ushered inside the rooms by now anyways. Those that still linger though watches our little group with a great interest and concern. If I don't get a better handle on this situation, I have a feeling Luke will start yelling at everyone soon. Kneeling, I gently pull the girl away from me, cupping her face and wiping away tears, creating little trails on her cheeks. Her mouth is drawn in a miserable pout when she peers up at me.
All right, Kylie, calm down. What happened?
It's my friend!
That's a little too vague, Munchkin.
Let her speak, Luke. Who is it, Kylie? Melody? Or was it the other one?
Yeah.
Did the two of you fight?
She nods and then immediately clams up after, letting her sobs communicate the story instead, or as much as her shaking shoulders can tell me. Right behind me, Luke gives a nervous huff while he shifts on his feet. He must not be used to handling children crying. What a wuss.
Sweetie, I won't be able to help you if you don't tell me what happened.
Second passes before she responds again. Tears are already gone when she finally musters the strength to talk, her cries subsiding to mere sniffles.
I wanted to give her the rest of the jelly babies, but she won't come out.
Where? Where is she?
In the little girl's room.
Is she still there?
Another nod.
She won't say what's wrong. I kept asking her, but she told me to go away. Career Day's going to start soon. I saw the prizes Miss Alice will give us for good. She's gonna miss it.
Is that what you told her?
Yeah, she won't listen. She won't even take the jelly babies. After I saved it for her, too. She and Luke wanted to eat the red ones, but I told them it's not for him. Miss Pink, can you talk to her? Tell her to come out, and I'm really upset with her.
Oh, kids. Just a little childish argument then. Times like these, I'm glad I teach teenagers mature enough for petty squabbles. I do love being around children, I don't mind, and I won't mind having one or two of my own in the future, but it takes a whole different level of patience to teach several of them. I honestly admire my colleagues who willingly took up the challenge. Normally I'll leave this for their homeroom teachers to fix, but I can't just ignore the imploring look she shoots me. Another weakness I'll have to steel myself against before I ever think about having one of my own. For now, I give in to it.
Okay, tell me where she is, sweetie.
Sighing, I stand up and gesture for her to lead the way. Luke trails quietly behind us, even with a small distance in between. His apprehension is palpable, understandably so. No one wants to be caught in the middle of a children's spat. But in the end, that's just part of my job. Can't shy away from it, can I? I almost said Shia. Shia LaBeouf. But you can do jujitsu, body slam superstar Shia LaBeouf. Kylie escorts us to an adjacent hall. At this hour, the corridors and the rooms lining its sides are empty, save for the gentle rustling of leaves, the twittering of birds outside, and the tapping of our feet against the floor. The whole area stays eerily quiet. Not unusual, though. This is the part of the building reserved for club activities at the end of the school day, and with the rest of the school busy with another event, it's only natural for it to be deserted. Come afternoon, right after class, it'll once again be filled with people. For the time being, I focus on the toilets at the far end, heading straight for it. Luke stays behind, opting to wait for the end of this drama instead, obviously not wanting to deal with another person's kid. Meanwhile, Kylie follows right after me, unusually silent as we approach the ladies' room. Sometime before we made the turn down the hallway, she has stopped sniffling and started to sing a tune under her breath.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
Because that's not creepy. Probably to brace or calm herself. Or maybe it's the way of preparing her... maybe it's her way of preparing to pull her friend out of her sulk. Then that reminds me of another person. I make no remarks on it, however. It's all part of growing up, they say. Let her learn. The door's slightly ajar when we get to it, and from the inside, the sobs of the girl echo weakly. Ugh. Barely audible even in this kind of hush. Turns out Kylie's not the only one upset about this. Despite the situation, a smile forms on my lips as I call out to a friend.
Hello? Hello there? You're Kylie's friend, aren't you? Melody, is it? She's looking for you.
Children can be so amusing sometimes. Granted, they can be exasperating, especially around this age, but the endearing things about them outweigh those. All you need is enough level of patience.
Career Day's about to start, too. You'll have to come out, or you're going to be really late for it. Miss Alice won't be happy if one of her kids isn't there. I heard she brought little gifts for everyone who'll behave. Don't you want to receive one?
However, her cries show no sign of abating. They only grow louder. Not close to a whale. Alarming regardless.
Are you okay?
From where I'm standing, it almost sounds like she's in some kind of pain, and it's not impossible. They do that at times, hiding what ails them for fear of a reprimand. It's like that coaxing her out might be useless. It also makes sense why she chose the loo furthest away from the classroom. Wasting no time, I gesture for Kylie to wait and amble towards the door calmly so I don't alarm her. At the same time, a distinct sense of deja vu hits me. I've been in this position before, behind a door with someone crying on the other side, my calls ignored as their cries grow into a wail. Just this past week, actually. Even so, being in the same situation before doesn't bring any comfort, and putting up for the child beside me is a thick undercurrent of worry trickling into my stomach. Yeah, me as well. I take one last breath as I nudge the door open. It all happens in the span of a second. I don't make it past 2 steps in the room. Her cries abruptly stop. Light footsteps shuffle behind me, coming to a halt at the door. My heart skips a beat. And when I turn...
Kylie?
Fuck that. Nope, nope. Nope. Nope, nope. Nope. Girls are fucking creepy in these games. No. Why, oh why? Why, oh why, oh why, oh why? Does it always have to be little girls? Why? In every horror thing, it has to be little girls. They scare the living fuck out of me. And that music doesn't help. Hi, Kylie.
Miss Pink? Miss Pink? Why didn't you help her?
Don't you dare fucking move. My whole body becomes motionless at the sight of her, words catching in my throat, my heart pounding rapidly against my chest. I can't even look at her face. This is Kylie. I'm sure of it. Yet nothing of the manner she speaks or the way she tilts her head in the question carries youthful, innocent vibe. Oh, let's just get through this as Amelia look at the dead, hollow imitation of the child.
Can't you hear her? She's asking for your help.
Well, she can fuck off and so can you. But it's not those that trigger a memory. It's those chilling eyes, calling, beckoning.
Why won't you listen to her?
Why won't you just fuck off? All at once, the memory returns to me. The tide that has receded now returns to shore with an overwhelming force, carrying every single moment from days ago. A world passing by in a blur, and of features I barely discern under the little light there was. Not even a week has passed. And in this minute, while I keep my eyes trained, stop fucking looking at me. Jesus Christ. I can't look at the screen. I'm having to go like that to read the words underneath. I believe your heart. In this minute, while I keep my eyes trained on the child before me, they return with such unbearable clarity. Shut the fuck up. Literally, I'm having to block her face on the screen. There are no horrid wounds this time, no blood streaming down a pale face, thank heavens. I'd rather see that face than this one. Lips contorted into a small, twisted smile. They brim with venom, I've never expected to see in a child, sending tiny pinpricks of dread crawling up my limbs, or perpetual fucking fear in my face. There's no voice for this bit, but it says you're a bad person. People like you deserve to die. Well, why don't you go fuck yourself? Those whispers and laughters again. Judging, mocking, taunting. Don't you dare do a fucking jump scare. Each scathing word rings sharp and true against my ears. My throat closes in. My whole body tenses. The chill settles at the tips of my fingers, every digit gone rigid from the cold. Every single draw of breath, any struggle for air or freedom, the coils wrapped around my body tight and dragging me down. A gradual, torturous descent into another bottomless abyss. On and on and on, till I lose touch with myself and the world.
Help me.
Until darkness claims me and, unexpectedly, a note. In the distance, harsh and piercing, cutting through the thick stupor and shattering the haze without warning.
Are you ladies done with your business here? I'll have all morning to wait for you two.
My eyes snap open and the world shifts into place with a ragged gasp. When I glance up, a different set of eyes greet me.
Are you okay, Miss Pink?
No! No anger, no vile hatred in them. It's, even though the creepy face is gone, it's still not alright. It's plain, sincere concern. Bit by bit, I'm becoming aware of my surroundings and myself as warmth steadily slips back to me. I've reached out for the nearby counter to steady myself at some point, and my knuckles have gone white from how rigid my grip is on it. It's over now, yet the tension hasn't left my body. Yeah, no fucking shit. My heart still hammers hard against my chest in an erratic rhythm, and my breathing still comes in short, shallow bursts. Before me, Kylie fumbles with her hands, utterly unsure of what to do to an adult. Fuck off. Fuck off. Not okay. It's not okay. Even still now, with the normal face, it's not okay. Fuck off. Nathan's literally stood on the stairs playing fucking creepy girl sounds through his phone and being an utter cock. The more he does it, the more something sharp will fly towards him, and I'm not responsible for any injuries that gets incurred from this. No, it started with London. I knew it was coming because literally, oh yes, we'll walk into the toilets where a girl is alone crying in a stall and you're trying to coax her out, and just behind, London Bridge is burning down. It's like, fuck off.
Did you get sick?
No, you just turned into a creepy fucking demon.
I'll call Tio, okay? Stay here and don't move.
No. No need. Just...
It's not okay.
just Leave me alone.
Yeah,
Do
leave
you
me
know how
alone.
to fix you? Oh wait, okay?
Go away. Yes. I wish I could speak reassurances to her, but I can't shake it off. The dread is there, twisting at my insides in anticipation. Is my no, it isn't. Of what? I'm no longer sure. Pushing myself off the counter, I break into a run, brushing off the anxious look Kylie gives me while I gently push her away on my way out, or the furrow in Luke's brows when I stumble into him outside. Can we just stop with the music now as well? Whatever they both saw in my face, I care not to know. Bloody hell, I don't even understand what's happening anymore. Anything else in horror games? Anything else? Any jump scares you want to throw at me? Fine, I'll take them in my fucking stride. Put a creepy little fucking girl in there. Oh. I'm just trying to take a moment to let my heartbeat settle. My hands to stop shaking. And then I can carry on. Right. Yeah, no fucking shit, the tremors continue long after. Although none of my students have commented on it, I've caught a few sharing anxious glances every time a pen slips from my hand or my shoulders tense whenever called. How unusual it must be for them to see the normally composed Miss Gales become a bundle of nerves. But even the most boisterous ones have given me less grief today. You'd think after being on my 4th cup of tea would provide any sort of comfort. Or is this the 5th? Why does counting matter now? The fact that I can't easily shake it off this time should tell me something. The last time this happened, I passed it off with it as some lapse on my part after having been sick for the weeks before.
And it is a natural conclusion.
Those are just stories. A century-old law passed by the locals to keep their children in line. What place doesn't have those? One of my Da's books even went as far as describe them as a strong part of Isabella's culture. Tree giants, women who feed unborn children straight from the mother's womb. What the fuck? Or hell, there's even one story about a demon baby. Nope. All folklore that has never had a smidgen of truth in it, most probably told to scare off the natives back in the old days. Much like every other one in every other place, the world is more universal than people care to think. But looking at it from where I'm standing now, after seeing right into the eyes of that woman, after all the things I've been hearing and feeling, perhaps there's really more to that bloody letter than some awful Halloween prank.
Perhaps Isabella's right all along.
Yes, maybe. A terrible thing if true. Though, that thought doesn't linger long, thankfully. Seeing the ring on my mobile takes my attention away from it. An unfamiliar name flashes. Oh, it's Miriam. Oh. An unfamiliar name flashes before me once the screen lights up and my brows knit together. Marianne McCullough. Staring hard at the screen, I try to remember when I've entered this person on my contact list. It takes a moment, but when it clicks, my eyes zero in on the book lying wide open on my table, loaned out from the library almost a week ago. I met the woman there by sheer coincidence, a fellow history buff apparently. We're after the same book, but in the end she's given it to me under the condition that I call her once I'm done. To be honest, I've completely forgotten about it up until now, and well, I haven't really taken a peek at it until today. Normally I'd be done with the whole volume of this size a few days after taking it out, about 1 or 2, depending on how busy I am. But finding a chance to sit down and read through this has actually been more difficult lately than I anticipated. But it's fucking scared me. It's shook me up that much I'm stumbling over my fucking words. Oh. Oh no, I've run out of snacks. One moment I'm busy simply grading worksheets, attending a movie premiere the next, and someone suddenly invited me out for one reason or another. Days later, a friend stopped showing up in her flat right after worrying reports pop up in the local news. There simply isn't enough time to breathe and get a grip on things. I've been flipping through the pages of the book, of said book moments ago, though never really reading anything and merely hoping for a distraction. To no avail. My phone gives out another ring, and this time I do not hesitate to
Marianne?
answer.
Hello. Here I was starting to wonder if it was a bad time to call. Is it?
No, not at all.
Yeah, there's a creepy demon girl after me.
I dismissed
Help.
my last class a few minutes ago. I'm pretty much free for the rest of the afternoon. Unless something comes up. Is this about last time? The book?
Swan. I need sugar and lots of it.
Not really. I was hoping to ask you about some other thing.
Okay.
Oh, sure. What about?
You grew up in this city, didn't you?
It's a peculiar question to ask someone you've only just met, but I answer it nevertheless. I'm more curious as to where she's heading with this. Heading with this by starting with that.
Born and raised, third-generation migrant. Why do you ask?
So, you must be familiar with the local lore. The, stories?
So it's tomorrow that she falls victim to the trap.
Quite. If I'm going to teach about history, I'd like to think I am, yeah? But a family friend would be a better person to ask. If you want, I can contact him for you.
No. Let's just keep this thing between us, okay? It's nothing too big. Alright. I really don't know how else to put this without sounding a bit crazy. But things have been really, odd. Do you remember the mansion I mentioned back when we met? My current project?
In hindsight, I should have expected it to lead to this. She must not have lived here long if she's just asking about this now. It didn't take a week with Isabella when she arrived, but that's Isabella, superstitions down to the last hair. Though it won't be too far off to think Marianne has only started thinking about this recently. She's working on the damn house itself. I must admit, even I'm curious now, despite living here for so many years and having so many chances to look it up before.
The Ermengarde Mansion, yes?
Yes, that one. And, the thing is... The thing is... Oh dear, this is a bad idea. You know what? Just forget I ever called you about this.
It must have been the sunny weather, making me sick and see stupid things. See things?
No, wait. It's all right. I don't mind.
There's a moment's pause before she responds again. She's right in that this is a silly thing to talk about, especially between what I assume two people who are pretty grounded on their beliefs with regards to these things. I won't blame her if she hesitates.
I can't believe I'm asking you about this.
It's fine. Why don't you just think of it as some form of research?
Well, all right. But after this, we're going to forget we ever had this talk.
My lips will be sealed. Now, what is it about the mansion?
Just, what do you know about it? The general gist. The place's past. What happened to the owners? Anything you can give me.
Let's see. To start off,
Can't we hear it? I'll do my best to give her a concise summary. From the time the house was commissioned 400 years ago and who built it. I was hoping that conversation was going to go on for quite some time. Up to the point it got deserted after the last heir's death. And the deed was passed on to the Ermengarde's nearest relatives. Frankly, if it weren't for those urban legends persisting, the house would have already been faded into obscurity long ago. Demolished, even. These are all nothing she probably hasn't heard before, yet there's dissatisfaction in her tone once I finish.
That's all there really is to it?
as far as I know. There's this little bit I forgot to mention about Lady Charlotte Ermengarde's death, but most of those are just theories. Aside from that, this is really everything we've been teaching all these years. Should there be anything more?
No mention of any other weird stuff? Other crazy stories? Or a letter of some sort?
My blood runs cold. Any warmth and comfort the tea I've drank has given me prior has instantly been drained out of me. The phone creaks softly as my light hold turns into a firm grip. This whole letter bullshit is starting to take a turn into more than just coincidence.
None that I've heard or read of. What does a letter have to do with this?
Oh, no. It was just something I came across. Ignore it. Random thoughts, you know? By the way, I need to run. Thanks for answering my questions.
She ends the call abruptly with only a clipped goodbye, leaving my mind heavy with even more thoughts. The mood around my classroom has gone considerably denser in the light of what little I've gleaned from that conversation. I don't think Marianne's lying about her intent. Her interest is genuine, I'd give her that, but she's left a lot of things out. I get the sense she only asked because something's happening around her too, and if she has mentioned the letter, I probably wouldn't have made the connection.
Just what the hell did we get ourselves into?
Here's an interesting thought. I wonder if any of the sightings have ever crossed timeline. Like they've happened at the exact same moment. Then we know, if that is the case, then we know it's only one, it's more than one thing. Of course, there's still a lot of confusing details in this. All of these are just assumptions. No concrete conclusions can be formed with what we have, and if we want to find out what we're really dealing with, I think Marianne's right. There might be something more to those stories, as absurd as it sounds. The very place that gave us the letter might tell us something beyond what we know. And tomorrow night, I have a few hours of that chance at a housewarming party. Totally not an exciting thought, since the place is privately owned now. I can't just wander around, but it's enough reason to keep the dread at bay as I step out of the room, ready to put an end to this day. However, all those good vibes disappear into thin air when I run headfirst into Luke. There's really something in this man. Regardless of how much my opinion of him has changed over the span of a few hours, he simply blasts through every good impression people have of him without care or thought. He does appear to have an open... it doesn't even need to open his mouth. His mere presence does it. In all honesty, I think he's the kind of guy only a mother can love.
You're still here?
Obviously. Who do you think standing in front of you?
An ass.
Oh, come on, Daisy. You've done better than that. Losing your touch?
Luke, I don't have time for this. I'm heading home. And your face is the last thing I want to see before I leave. What do you want?
Belatedly, I notice his hand. Partially raised, almost poised for a knock. With a stiff lift of an eyebrow, he quickly drops it to his side and turns to Kylie. She's standing a few steps away from him, holding her hands behind her back and toeing at something on the floor with the tip of her shoe. And he proceeds to make vague gestures at me and the child. He resembles a fish flopping for air with the way he moves his arms, though I think he's trying to urge her to speak up.
Munchkin, I thought you wanted to tell her something.
You do it, Tio.
This wasn't my idea, darling.
Don't worry. I won't tell Tia what you told me the other day. And this morning.
Luke exhales, rolling his eyes at the ceiling and maybe praying for the universe to grant him more patience. He knows a losing battle when he sees one. He may act worse than a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum at times, but he's no match for an actual child. Nothing better than being served a dose of his own medicine, huh? Once his frustrations have been promptly let out, he points a rude finger at me. I do my best to stare the offending digit down, but I can already hear the demand before it's even out of his lips.
You, come with us.
What makes you think I will?
Because little Rugrat here is upset and worried, and it's your bloody fault. I've no idea what happened this morning, but if you don't come with us, I won't be hearing the end of it from her. So do me a favor, Daisy, and just be glad I'm inviting you.
You're asking for a favor, and you can't be bothered to be polite? I don't know. It's been a really busy day for me. I kind of miss my couch.
Daisy, you just say yes.
A pause follows, almost too dramatic. Afterwards, his face twists into something between a grimace and a smile. As it happens, he appears like he's in a lot of physical pain. You'd think the man is getting an aneurysm by simply being polite.
Please?
Tia said it'll be his treat.
What? I said no such thing, Munchkin. I only agreed to this because you requested it. I'm under no obligation to feed her.
I promise we'll be quiet the next time I visit.
Oh, all right, but just one meal and make it the cheapest.
He and Ashton will get along famously on that department. On a different front, the offer of free dinner does sound enticing, however half-heartedly given it is. Mostly because Kylie is wisely put on puppy eyes, and by the second I find all my choices slipping away from me.
See, Miss Pink? It'll be fun. You don't have to feel sad anymore, okay?
Oh, well,
My mobile buzzes from my pocket, cutting me mid-sentence, and for a second I'm spared from the act of giving an answer I'll regret either way. Fishing the gadget out, I wave a hand at him to excuse myself. A disgruntled expression is on Luke's face before I turn away. I'd be lying if I say it didn't amuse me. He's as eager to be done with this as I am, but what can I do? Checking a message from Ashton shows up. Hey Becca, I'll be around Salemwell this evening. Need to meet someone in the area. I might have to drop by yours and Isabella's place. See ya. Just the usual. Unlike what he does to Zachary's, Ashton has the decency to let us know when he's dropping in, or he's in the area for some business. From the way it's phrased, it sounds to be the latter. Either way, I'm glad he's at least aware of that boundary, not that Isabella's ever going to let him leave the building unscathed, if he ever manages to pull the same stunt he does with the other man. I cringe to imagine what she'll do to him. Sighing, I slip the gadget back into my pocket. But looking up at Luke's utter impatience on his face, I now face a different dilemma. Two of them are still waiting, and knowing the kind of person Luke is, this is already a grand gesture of goodwill coming from him. All to please his godchild. His denials aside, it's easy to tell he's really fond of Kylie from his actions alone. I kinda hate to ruin that.
Well, Daisy, we're waiting here.
On the other hand, there's Ash. His message doesn't exactly implying he's going to wait or is expecting me to be there, but there are matters I hope to discuss with him in person. To put it simply, housewarming party matters. With inviting Isabella out of the question, I only have Zachary and Ashton. Although the former has already made it clear that he'll be busy this week, and well, Ashton has been my first choice from the start. Even if he detests attending gatherings like this, it's company that counts. We can be miserable together. That's the problem, isn't it? He hates them, and it's very likely his answer will be a flat no. I'd rather not hear that. If by some miracle he agrees to it, he'll probably be sulking the whole party. Not really a tough choice when you put it like that, still. Tough choice, but I have to pick one. You know what? I'm interested to see where this will go. In the end, it's my own fondness for Kylie that wins out. Chances are I'll only have to enjoy his presence for an hour or so, if it lasts more than that. If it lasts more than that, I can make up an excuse, a sudden call from a friend, or things to work on. It doesn't seem so bad when I think of the pros and cons. At best, it'll be a quiet dinner. At worst, it'll be an awkward affair we're both eager to be rid of. I'm learning more on the latter. I'm leaning more on the latter happening. Hoping for the former, of course.
Okay, but only because Kylie asked.
Kylie's face instantly lights up. For the third time today, she tackles me into a hug before pulling away and dragging me by the hand towards the building's exit.
That's alright. I'm sure Tio doesn't mind. He let me pick where we're going to eat. Don't worry, it's just close.
Luke follows closely behind, and perhaps out of some desire to keep the dead air away, I can't resist throwing in a quip.
Keep your distance. You better not do anything funny, you hear?
I'm the one who should keep my distance. May I remind you who approached me first and what you did right after?
Oh, I remember it clearly. But perhaps it's you who needs a reminder. You seem to have never learned your lesson. Care we give it another try? Maybe this time it'll stick.
Maybe this time it'll stick. You think you're scary? I'll show you what's scary.
To my surprise, his tone lacks the usual sardonic note in it, and briefly I pause to stare at him. He quickly shuts his mouth right after and walks ahead of us. All talk and no trousers like the usual. And for the better part of our walk, except for Kylie's excited chatter, we don't speak. Somehow I have this strange feeling that I'm already getting used to this kind of banter with him. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And amidst this newfound friendship, dare I call it that, Ashton's message lay forgotten and abandoned in my pocket. Save. And I'm going to leave it there. I've been